Every recall, every crisis has 3 V's in it. Every news story has 3 V's in it. Every opera, every Bible story you've ever heard has 3 V's. Otherwise, it doesn't have any drama. What are the 3 V's? You have a victim. Somebody's being harmed. Children are being threatened. The elderly whose immune systems are compromised are at risk, especially as we learned in the Bluebell recall. So we have a victim and we have a villain. Unfortunately, folks, it's us. We automatically start from the villain position. We're the ones responsible, if not to blame, for any illness or threat of illness or threat of complications or any problems that may arise from the product that we either manufacture or touch as part of the process. The 3rd V is the vindicator. This is the hero that rides to the rescue. The 6 o'clock news team. A regulator. Or my favorite, a member of Congress that introduces a bill that tightens food safety so that nobody else is threatened again. Somebody who rides to the rescue and comforts the victim. Our role in the communications in a recall is to move into that vindicator role so that we're seen as doing the right things, so we're taking the right steps. But when you start at the outset, we're always in the villain role. Just accept it. So how do we move into the vindicator role? The first thing we need to think about is our internal communications. Why? Because of social media, because people in our company are going to talk about this. The worst thing we can do today is to issue a press release that differs from what we're telling our employees, because they're going to speak at a cookout or a church or a party and undermine what we're saying publicly. And retailer communication is essential. It's the most important thing. And it doesn't just end with that first email or the first round of calls to your customer. They're going to be asking you every other day for an update. So you have to instill a system, create a system inside your plan so that you're constantly in communication with your customers. If you don't, they're the ones talking to the consumers. They're the ones that are going to send out their own alerts. They're the ones that are going to tell their consumers to avoid your brand then and in the future. Because the FDA is under great pressure, they're understaffed, they're underloved, they're underpaid, they're under great stress. Because of FSMA, because of congressional pressure, for them to do more with less and for them to be strict with companies like ours, they're going to be less flexible, they're going to be irritable. Crisis craves structure, and a recall is crisis at its pinnacle. Your crisis recall team ideally should have no more than 6 or 7 people. If you look this up, psychologists will tell you, more than 6 people in a room, what happens? Politics. Is Elizabeth gaining ground on me? Am I talking too much? Does the boss think that I'm capable? We all do it. It's human nature. But in a group of 6 or fewer, we roll up our sleeves and get the job done. I don't know why that number, but psychologists say it is. Try to limit the size of the recall team, the decision makers. Obviously, you have to bring in people from time to time to add to it, human resources perhaps, or some specialists. But when you bring them in, they play a role and then they go away. What you don't want to do is get in a situation where you have 10 or 12 people on a conference call. You cannot get anything done. I think I'm speaking from experience here. Keep that team tight. Stay in front of the story. Let's be narrators of the story. Let's not always be on our back foot responding and reacting to consumers and to our customers. Because at the end of the recall, we're going to get criticized no matter what we do, no matter how well we handle it. It's inevitable. But if you do most of these things in a timely way, you'll come out of it in a better position. To be in business in the 21st century is to be in crisis. To be in the food business of the 21st century is to have recalls. How do we control the narrative? We have to describe what happened. We need to be honest. So often, Elizabeth and I work with companies, especially if it's a mid-cap company where the C-suite's involved intricately. What we learn on day 1 is very different from day 3, 4, or 5. It's like an artichoke. Every day we learn more about something that we didn't know the first day. It happens. It's inevitable. Lawyers have to deal with it all the time. But we have to be as honest as possible. We don't want to be talking about puffery in a serious recall. People will forgive a recall. Consumers will forgive a mistake. They will forgive a problem. What they will never forgive is a cover-up. Apologies. I got a lot of questions about should we apologize? When appropriate, yes, but that shouldn't be your first reaction. Let's apologize. What are you apologizing for, first of all? Now, if someone's actually been injured, if somebody's been harmed, or heaven forbid somebody's actually died as a result of one of the products that we have, then yes, you need to apologize immediately. But frequently it's a threat. It's an undeclared allergen or something that we were talking about. We might apologize for the disruption or the concern that it's caused, but don't fall over yourselves trying to apologize, and don't do it more than once. Apologies are about saying that you're sorry, meaning it, feeling it, and then telling people what you're doing so that it never happens again. You've got to move forward after the apology. And then, at the end of your recall, this is a step that almost everybody misses. Thank your customers. And thank your consumers for staying with you in your brand. Thank them for constantly being with you and for staying with you through this crisis. It sounds simple, and it is, but it's very effective. And a lot of companies don't do it. The single biggest mistake we make in a recall is we're thinking about ourselves and our company and what's happening to us. We didn't get in this business for us necessarily. We got in it to serve consumers, to make sure that they had an affordable, safe, abundant food supply. So don't forget that. Be thinking like the vindicators are, and be thinking like a vindicator yourself, and think, what is the consumer thinking? What risk does the consumer see? What threat does the consumer see? And work your way backward from there. When you do that, you get through the recall far better, far easier, and there are actually companies who come out of recalls, when they handle them correctly, with a stronger brand. Thank you all very much for your attention. Appreciate it.